All right, good evening. Third time's a charm, and we're live here on KENS 5 talking about a couple of thunderstorms out west and southwest of San Antonio. Notice that Eagle Pass is getting hit pretty hard right now in Maverick County along the Rio Grande. I think for the next 6 to 10 hours, that is where the focal point will be for heavier rain. Bexar County and the Hill Country are included in a flood watch through tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. But I think the majority of the rain that forms overnight tonight should be remaining farther west and southwest of San Antonio, just based on what the forecast guidance is kind of trending towards in the direction and in the intensity of rainfall. So we're going to get into detail about that. If you have any questions, feel free to comment down below. Perfect. Thank you, David. Absolutely. Denise, thank you. Absolutely. Yeah, it took us a couple of times, but we're back, and we are ready to roll with the weather. If you have any questions, guys, feel free to comment down below. Again, that is radar. It is a mostly quiet night. We had a couple of storms earlier this morning and this afternoon. And we have the potential at seeing some of that reform. Here is a flood watch that has been extended until 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. So I think the morning commute could be a little messy. It could be a little wet, and in some areas the visibility pretty low. So while the rain's not going to be widespread everywhere across every county that's in green, there will be some storms that will be strong and heavy out west between Del Rio, San Antonio, Cotulla, and maybe towards Hondo and Uvalde. So we're watching that closely. Before we get to that, let's talk about the rain estimates over the last 12 to 24 hours. Here are some of the rain estimates in San Antonio. It was scattered. But mainly towards the south and east is where some of the heavier amounts of rain really materialized. Off of 410, south of China Grove, between Elmendorf and St. Hedwig, you can see a couple of storms that ignited upwards of like 1.5 inches to 2 inches of rain earlier today. A big winter in northwest San Antonio. I would say anywhere from Fair Oaks Ranch to Bernie. Some areas near Helotes towards southern Kendall County picked up on average, like, 1/2 inch to 1.5 inches of rain. Pretty good rainfall across northwestern San Antonio. And out towards Bandera County near Medina Lake in northern Medina County, looking pretty good, about 1 to 2 inches of rain. And the area that did not need to see any more rain saw more rain, unfortunately. Kerr County, Gillespie County, Kendall County all saw some pretty widespread rain. The storms that were heaviest were pretty much situated right over this area, basically between Fredericksburg, Hunt, Kerrville, and Comfort. That is where a lot of the heavier rain materialized. Now, thankfully, it wasn't anything record-breaking, but remember, the soil's already saturated, the ground's already wet, so it's going to be a problem. If any additional rain forms, that can cause pretty quick flash flooding in this part of our area, the Hill Country, Kerr County, Bandera County, Gillespie County. So this is some of the estimates they picked up earlier today, about 2 to 4 inches across parts of the Hill Country. Now in San Antonio, it's quiet. From here to the Hill Country, it's clear. There's not much on radar. It's out to the west, where, by the way, the storms that are developing out near the Rio Grande between Cotulla and Eagle Pass, they're moving farther back into central Mexico. So while there will be rain that forms overnight, at the moment there's just not much activity out there. There was a couple of isolated showers near Floresville earlier this evening. Those have since fallen apart. Let's go back to radar. Again, San Antonio, it is a quiet night after some activity this morning and this afternoon. And matter of fact, the flood warning that was issued for the Guadalupe River between Hunt and Kerrville, that expired early. The Weather Service was thinking flood warning in effect until tomorrow morning at like 7 to 8 a.m. That was in effect, but the Weather Service canceled that just because of the lack of rise in the river. It was forecasted to crest around like 12 feet, but when we checked on it at 5:30, 5:45 earlier this evening, it was around 8 feet. That was way below flood stage. So not expected to cause any minor to moderate flooding. It's going to remain below the flood stage. That is the good news. Quiet on radar in the Hill Country. Notice that it's pretty active over Eagle Pass. If you have any friends or family in Maverick County and the Rio Grande, this is where it's really heavy. Now these storms are moving towards central Mexico, towards the lee side of the mountain range. So this is not going to impact Crystal City or Asherton or La Pryor. This is moving west into Mexico over these next couple of hours. So we're going to watch those closely because the atmosphere is still pretty volatile. We have some storms moving farther west into Valverde County, north of Del Rio right now, but nothing that's forming around our area. But the potential is there between now and about 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. I'm seeing a couple of scattered showers and a couple of storms in the area. Again, this was earlier this evening, so I'll have to look at the numbers, but basically none of these parts of the Guadalupe River are rising anymore. It does say rising. This was as of 5:45 earlier this evening. Good news is, big takeaway, the Guadalupe River at Hunt, Kerrville, and Comfort all below the flood stage and are not expected to peak or crest anywhere beyond that. Tomorrow's flood concern is a marginal risk that includes Bexar County, the I-35 corridor towards Austin and down towards Cotulla, and that does include the hill country. But as you saw on radar, there's just not much activity materializing around our area. I want to take a look at that model, and then let's take a look at what the HRRR is saying on some of the guidance into this evening. For Richard, what's the percent for tonight? Probably about 30% overnight, Richard. You know, it's not going to be widespread, not going to be a slam dunk on rain, but the chance is there for a couple of isolated cells, that's for sure. Especially with the flood watch that's in effect until tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Okay, this is doing a better, slightly better job at initializing, but both these models are not doing really well because this one's saying rain in Bernie, and there's no rain in Bernie right now, but there's a lot of rain at Eagle Pass, and this one is going for that. Let's see. So we're going to fast forward through time. Let's just say through about 2 a.m., a couple of isolated showers and storms possible, but most of it really coming to an end. And if any rain and storms develop, it's mostly out west. Cotulla, Pearsall, Uvalde, Del Rio, Eagle Pass, Carrizo Springs have a better chance at seeing overnight showers and overnight storms. Some of those may drift farther north towards Rock Springs and Bandera County, but most of it weakens. Big takeaway tomorrow, there is still about a 30% coverage on scattered showers and a couple of downpours in the afternoon. If you're not seeing rain tomorrow afternoon, you're seeing a sunshine and clouds and high temperatures in the lower 90s. So rain chance is slowly trending down. We still have the chance for that Monday, tomorrow, and Tuesday as well. So we're going to keep a close eye on that. But right now we have a weather impact alert for tomorrow morning for the potential at some localized heavy rain, especially down Highway 90 towards Del Rio, Uvalde, Hondo. There could be a couple of downpours that materialize overnight, and that could create concern on some of the roadways out there. From Craig, what about Del Rio? Del Rio is quiet right now, but there's a lot of thunder and lightning in Eagle Pass to your south, Craig. But all that activity is moving farther west into Mexico, so that is not going to impact Del Rio. Del Rio could see a couple of isolated showers and storms overnight, but right now it is quiet in Valverde County. All right, guys, that is it for weather. Tomorrow at 92, best chance at rain in the early morning, probably before sunrise. So that's going to impact some of you on your morning commute. And then in the afternoon, a 30% coverage on a couple of downpours in the area, but again, widely scattered for tomorrow afternoon. 20% on Tuesday, no alert for Tuesday so far. 95 Wednesday, and by the end of the week, temperatures really start to take over. The heat takes over. No hundreds expected anytime soon, but with the humidity and all the soil moisture, the heat index will probably feel a lot hotter than that, so get ready for some heat. High temperatures ranging from like 96 to 99 over the next 10 to 12 days in our local forecast. So we're going to keep a close eye on that, any changes that come about. Something tropical is going to be moving into the Gulf later in the week by Thursday and Friday. A lot of the models kind of put it towards Louisiana, but we'll keep a close eye on that because sometimes that can move moisture in our direction and increase our chance for rain. If that does happen, we would see some isolated storms Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, just depending on the track and intensity of whatever's tropical in the northern Gulf. So we're going to keep a close eye on that. Tomorrow's high, 92, and a little hotter by the end of the week.